Welcome to the Militia gaming community. I'm Trigger, and today is all about the 2013 Ferrari LaFerrari in Need for Speed Heat. Let's go! Before I get into the video, I just want to say thank you to everyone who watched my channel last year and the year before. We are at 93,000 subscribers as of the new year, and I couldn't have done it without you guys. I'm truly thankful, and I don't think enough YouTubers say that, so I want to say it one more time. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions about this, remember, you guys can always jump into my streams every Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Alright, let's get into it. So, the first thing I like to do in these wrong build videos is to give you the fastest engine for the car. For this LaFerrari, there is only one engine option, so I'm not doing you any favors here, but you need to use the one engine option. This engine with the fastest track build ran a 252.6 on Arian, which actually puts this car near the top 10, but like slightly outside of it. I think it either is number 11 or 12 on my list, and it ran a 238.3 on Sonic, which is actually within 9 seconds of my fastest RSR time, and we all know the RSR is the king, so it's honestly not that bad. The best gearbox for the car is the 7-speed, and one of the things I've noticed about this car, which was kind of similar to the Civic that we did last week, is that it's actually really good from like 150 miles per hour to like 230 miles per hour. It does really good on the top end or the top gears, but the lower gears, it's very, very slow. It's a slow starter. It has a lot of grip though. One of the downsides is that it's pretty expensive to build. The car itself is over $1 million, and the parts will add another 200,000, so you're looking at around 1.3 million to build this car for racing. There aren't that many customizations for the car as well, but the options you do have are basically what turns this car into an FXX Evo. I know it's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. The FXX Evo is one of the hardest cars in the game to earn, so it's actually not that bad. You can just kind of buy the LaFerrari and you almost have yourself an Evo. It's not exactly the same like I said, but it's close. As far as the handling of this car goes, with this build, the car handles fine. I mean, if it didn't, you wouldn't see good track times like I mentioned earlier, but it still feels really sluggish, like it doesn't want to turn quickly. It has a not super sharp turning radius, like you have to force it to turn, and that's super annoying to drive, especially when you're used to cars that handle buttery smooth like the RSR. Although it does put up decent times, I'm not really a huge fan of this car for track racing. That being said though, feel free to use it for track as it is faster than I originally thought. Let me go ahead and give you the full track build now. Pay attention because this build is very different due to how much traction this car has. So we've got that stock 949 horsepower 6.3 liter V12, the Ultimate Plus engine parts, and the Ultimate Dual Turbo. I've got a 5x3 pound NOS, but here's where it gets weird. I used a Super Rally suspension, Elite brakes, Elite on-road tires, Elite Plus clutch, and the Elite 7-speed gearbox with the Pro on-road differential. So the suspension, the tires, and the differential are very strange for a track build, but again, this car has so much grip that you need to do something to kind of loosen up the back end, and this was the best setup I could find. Of course, I'm using NOS refills and duration, but on the steering sensitivity, I've got it all the way up, and on the downforce all the way down, traction control off, and drift style on gas. Now, this car is not a drag car. It is super slow off the line like I mentioned earlier, and that really can't be fixed with swapping parts. It's pretty interesting to me that the quarter-mile time doesn't really change if you switch to drag tires. Drag tires are supposed to limit the amount of wheel spin you have off the line and give you the ultimate traction, but this car really doesn't lose traction at the line, so those don't really help the car at all on its quarter mile. This is the first time in the history of this series where the drag build is exactly the same as the race or the track build. It's super weird. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable, but it is what it is. This drag build is exactly the same. This is the fastest quarter mile that I could find. So with that, moving on to a drift build. I'll be honest, this car drifts terribly. But with this build that I came up with, you can maintain the drift somewhat with the correct steering. It takes a lot of effort to keep this car drifting and going the direction that you would like. That being said, it's not a drift car. It's supposed to be a track grip monster, which is what it is, so I can't really hold the fact that it drifts about as well as I have the ability to say no to food against it. But if you want to drift it around, here's the build. Again, the same 949 horsepower engine, ultimate plus engine parts, and dual turbo with a 5x3 pound NOS. You want super speed cross suspension, elite brakes, elite drift tires, elite plus clutch, elite 7-speed gearbox, and the pro drift differential. NOS refills and duration, although it won't matter for drifting, and then steering sensitivity +5, downforce -5, traction control off, drift style on gas. All right, let's take a look at the off-road. As always, I test the car's off-road ability by running it through HTV2 and Rumble, and then I add those times together before putting it on my leaderboard. And this LaFerrari performed all right. At HTV2, it was able to run a 151.2, which isn't terrible, but there were some definite shortcomings that I knew would be worse on Rumble. The first is its top speed ability. The car gets to 135 miles per hour, and then it dies. The other problem that it has is that it clips on the ground so much, which makes it almost undrivable in the dirt unless you hit the perfect lines to avoid the major clipping spots. On Rumble, I ran a 318.1, and combined, those times come out to 509.3, which ranks it at number 45 overall, and I've tested around 65 cars or so. So it's not really that great of an off-road car. I really don't recommend it. It feels terrible to drive. It's all right in terms of speed, but it's really not good on top speed. It's better for quicker, shorter courses. Anyway, let's throw up the build card. It's not really an off-road car. So we got that same engine, ultimate plus parts, dual turbo, 5x3 pound NOS. That's standard. We've got the super rally suspension, elite brakes, elite off-road tires, elite plus clutch, elite 7-speed gearbox, and the super rally differential. We've got NOS refills and duration, of course, and the same steering sensitivity +5, downforce -5, traction control off, drift style on gas. And with that, guys, I'm going to end the video. I really do appreciate everyone's support on this series. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to all the subs, and I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.